The control room staff gives the all-clear, reporting that the kaijus have been defeated. However, Shinomiya corrects them, pointing out that several smaller Yoju kaijus are still active. With this new information, Kaiju number 8, Narumi and Shinomiya team up to eliminate the remaining threats. Watching them work, Director Shinomiya remarks that the new generation of officers has far exceeded his expectations. A final confirmation then arrives from the control room. All kaijus have been successfully eliminated. Director Shinomiya commends Narumi, Kafka, and Shinomiya, telling them they all performed exceptionally well. The praise brings a smile to Kafka's face, while Shinomiya is visibly moved and becomes emotional. Meanwhile, something is clearly troubling Narumi. He can't stop thinking about Kaiju number 9's true motive for appearing in this location. His thoughts are interrupted when an emergency alarm suddenly blares. The control room personnel report a new kaiju detection in their immediate vicinity. Suddenly, a voice echoes through the area as Kaiju number 9 begins to speak. It taunts them, stating that while they couldn't defeat Kaiju number 8 today, it will eventually claim his powers. Kafka lunges forward to finish it, but before he can land a blow, Kaiju number 9 vanishes into thin air. Back in the command center, Kafka explains to Narumi that the entity they were just fighting was not Kaiju number 9's true form, but merely a decoy. At that moment, Director Shinomiya notices a scientist standing behind him in an unnatural, disturbing posture. Realizing the immediate danger, the director instantly assumes a combat stance. The possessed scientist speaks with Kaiju number 9's voice, gloating that it has found an exceptional host as well as the power of Kaiju number 2. Hearing this, Narumi and Kaiju number 8 race towards the control room at top speed. Kafka has a horrifying realization. Kaiju number 9's primary target all along was Director Shinomiya. The director orders everyone to evacuate the area immediately. As the personnel scramble to escape, Kaiju number 9 triggers a massive explosion. When the dust finally settles, Director Shinomiya is revealed having shielded one of his men from the blast. He understands the creature's goal. It wants the powers of Kaiju number 2 that he wields. Director Shinomiya orders the 2 remaining officers to get everyone else to safety. One of them insists on staying, but his partner argues that they would only get in the way. He knows their opponent's power is on a completely different level. With the area clearing, Director Shinomiya activates his weaponized suit. Kaiju number 9 remarks, surprised, that its 2 clones, Beta and Gamma, were defeated so quickly. While the 2 officers continue the evacuation, Director Shinomiya observes his foe, noting that the kaiju has evolved far more than he ever anticipated. The creature throws a powerful punch at the director, who counters with a punch of his own. Their fists collide, generating a powerful shockwave that rips through the room. The immense force creates a powerful gale, forcing the nearby officers to shield their faces from the debris. An officer reports over the comms that according to 3rd Division data, Kaiju number 9's fortitude level is 8.5. He adds that Director Shinomiya's suit should easily withstand that level of force. However, the director is severely injured by the impact. His left arm is almost completely destroyed. Kaiju number 9 taunts him, asking, "Have I become stronger than before?" It follows up with another punch, but the director manages to block it with his right arm. He grits his teeth, vowing to finish the creature here and now. Elsewhere, Narumi is still rushing towards the director's location. A transmission comes in confirming the surrounding area has been evacuated and urging the director to retreat as well. But the director explains that Kaiju number 9 can track their location, making escape impossible. He tells his remaining subordinate to run. The officer refuses, stating that his duty is to support the director until victory is achieved. He then explains that wielding a numbered weapon like the director's places an immense strain on the user. However, the power it grants is comparable to that of a Daikaiju, immensely destructive. Director Shinomiya unleashes the full power of his weapon, launching a furious assault on the kaiju. Despite his efforts, he is still struggling against its overwhelming might. The director lands a devastating attack that completely obliterates the kaiju's head. But a moment later, the creature rises again and resumes its relentless assault. Finally, Kaiju number 9 lands a massive blow that sends the director hurtling across the room. The creature hoists him into the air and slams him violently back to the ground. The officer checks his monitoring system and sees the grim data. The director's condition is critical, with severe damage to his vital organs. Yet the director forces himself back to his feet, telling the officer that he'll defeat this kaiju no matter the cost. He prepares to unleash his weapon's maximum output, its final, most powerful function. The officer pleads with him not to do so, warning that using it now will mean he can never fight again. The director dismisses the warning, saying he doesn't care. The next generation is more than capable of killing kaijus. Before he can act, Kaiju No. 9 strikes him down. The scene shifts to a memory from the past, showing a younger Shinomiya with his wife. The director mentions that their daughter, Kikoru, wants to join the defense force, which is only natural for their family. Kikoru's mother agrees, saying she will train her daughter personally if that is her wish. But she also asks her husband to make sure he spoils Kikoru with love, not just discipline. Back in the present, director Shinomiya is locked in his final struggle. He channels every last bit of his strength into one desperate, all-out attack. He throws a devastating punch at Kaiju No. 9 that radiates with immense energy. The officer shouts a warning that the kaiju is changing its form again. But the director is committed, preparing another fully charged punch to attack his enemy. The resulting explosion is so immense that Kafka and Narumi witness the flash from a great distance. After the blast subsides, the officer cautiously approaches the scene. He sees director Shinomiya standing, but he is completely unresponsive. He also sees that Kaiju No. 9's core is intact and it is already regenerating its body. The officer screams for the director to run, but Shinomiya only attempts one more futile attack. The creature's tendrils then completely envelop the director. Just then, Kaiju No. 8 and Narumi finally arrive on the scene. Narumi sees the figure of director Shinomiya and starts to run towards him. However, Kafka realizes with dread that the person standing there is not the director, but Kaiju No. 9 in his body. Suddenly, the creature attacks Narumi, but Kafka intervenes just in time to save him. Kafka is shocked, noticing that Kaiju No. 9's power feels completely different now. Narumi desperately calls out to the director, but the creature replies that it has assimilated director Shinomiya's body as its new host. At that moment, Kikoru descends from above, launching a fierce attack on the new Kaiju No. 9. The creature looks at her and says, "Oh, so you're this man's daughter." Narumi joins the assault, attacking with all his might. Kaiju No. 9 absorbs the blow and remarks, "This is the same attack you used on my clone Beta." Narumi unleashes one attack after another, but none of his relentless strikes seem to leave even a scratch. A memory surfaces for Narumi, director Shinomiya telling him that once their division becomes the strongest, he plans to retire, placing his full faith in Narumi's leadership. Driven by grief and rage, Narumi charges forward again, but Kaiju No. 9 announces that it's time for its departure. Narumi attacks anyway, and Kafka joins him with a powerful blow of his own. In a shocking display of power, the new Kaiju No. 9 effortlessly blocks both of their attacks simultaneously. The two powerful warriors are left stunned and helpless as their enemy stands triumphant.